Hello, hi, and welcome. I'm just back from watching Ayushman Khurana and Rashmika Mandana's Thamma. If you were just wondering why the red tint, it is because of the Thamma's color palette, the blood red. My expectations from the film are little decent, not too much, not too little, especially because of the Maddock production house, the vampire story, and Ayushman Khurana. Rashmika Mandana, So I would expect an 8 on 10 film from them. Rashmika Mandana is the hero of the film. Being a female vampire oriented movie, this film had a lot of scope for her and she did a very good job. I'll explain more about how she portrayed the role better. I'd rate her an 8.5. Ayushman Khurana has a cute, charming presence throughout the film and he's good in whatever he acts. He's a versatile actor, and even in this film, I'll rate him an 8.5. He's done a commendable job. I'll talk about him more later. The role seemed a little too far-fetched for Nawazuddin Siddiqui. His stature and the acting style didn't suit well. It's not like he had done a bad job also. I would rate him around 8 on 10. I expected more, but got little. Paresh Rawal is a surprise, pleasant addition for this movie. As a father of a son who becomes a vampire, he emotes two kinds of emotions, the comedy and the emotional aspect, and I would rate him an 8.5 easily. You cannot talk about a vampire movie without talking about films like Twilight and LOKAH. There are certain similarities, I'll talk about them later, but Thamma also makes its own mark in this vampire universe. You'll be pleasantly surprised that Thamma doesn't rely on a lot of visual effects. It has visual effects, no, don't get me wrong, but the amount of visual effects is overpowered by the story, and I'll rate them an 8 on 10 for it. World building is very important for films like Thamma. It has its own kind of world building. The image that you see is a literal hi-fi in the movie. We'll talk more about the traditions and the world building later. I'll rate them an 8.5. You would expect a lot of action scenes from Thamma, and there are certain action episodes that pleasantly surprised me. I think this is the first of its kind in India. I would rate them an 8.5 easily. The music for this film is by Sachin Jigar. I haven't heard many of their songs except for Saibo, and the songs in this film are also forgettable. I wasn't humming anything back from the theater. I'll rate them a 7.5 for songs. But the BGM from Sachin Jigar are a little better. The Thamma title BGM is very nice. Others are okay. They elevate and rise to the occasion. I'll rate them an 8.10. Prahlad from Panchayat is a very nice addition to this film. He plays the character of a police officer who mediates between two races, and he has moved from Panchayat to a mainstream movie. I'll rate him an 8 on 10 performance. I have been following the Maddock cinematic universe from 3. I think they are doing a fantastic job in building a cinematic universe in India. For that, I'll rate them a 9 on 10. Even this film is a great addition. Because this film deals with a lot of blood and vampires, there is a certain conscious choice of using red, blood red, throughout the film in the costumes and art, and for that I rate them an 8.5. In a film like Thamma, I would expect a lot of set pieces, but the writing makes sure that it happens only in 3-4 locations, so there are minimal set pieces, but the ones that are there are done with huge care. Book My Show ratings for Thamma seem to be at around 8.5. It was 8.1 in the morning. I fairly agree with that. I think the movie deserves it. Even I would rate it around 8.5, and you can trust Book My Show on this. In conclusion, Thamma is a well-made movie. It has decent acting, decent writing, good production quality. If you have enjoyed any of Maddock's previous films like Stree or Bedia, you'd be satisfied with Thamma too. On the other hand, if you haven't, then you would hate this movie. So keep your expectations such. I personally would rate this film an 8.5 on 10. I'm a little liberal with the rating because I any day would encourage any film experiment or a fresh story in the films. I think everyone should be a little less harsh on films like these. I wish we had been harsher on the film Chava. If you are a casual movie watcher, all these quick points would have made sense to you. But if you are a film fanatic like me, there are a few things that I would want to go in detail. Drop off or continue based on your love for films. I quickly want to see how the internet is reacting to the movie. 25 cameos is outright. This guy seems to have liked the movie. The 3 item songs in the film seems to have made an impact. I think there is no outright bashing for this movie. Seems to do decently well in the internet too. There is no way an opinion or a review video is complete without talking about these 2 movies when we talk about Thamma. Thamma is a vampire movie, agreed. But it is more closer to Lokah than to Twilight. Just because Thamma explores a race, a tribe in the folklore of India, just like Stree did with its previous movies. It is weird that we've got 2 vampire movies in 2025 and both of them being received very well. Rashmika Mandana is having the time of her life with Pushpa 2, Chava, and now this. She's definitely dominating the acting space. Seeing her in the very first movie, Cricket Party in Kannada, it makes me a little happy to see her achieve this range of success. Now, in Pushpa and Chava, she's just a side character. But in this movie, she's the protagonist. I was very hesitant on how she would take on this role, but I must say I was impressed. I would rate her an 8.5 on 10 easily. She has a broad range of emotions to convey in this film, coming from a race called Betal and adjusting to human life and also falling in love with a human, subtle surprise at times and huge rage at other times. Rashmika Mandana has acted very well. It is almost like Priyanka Chopra's role in Barfi. This kind of acting is very new to Rashmika Mandana and she has done a good job. Man, I love Ayushman Khurana. He's a very, very versatile actor. I've been following him since the Wikidona days. He can act, he can sing, he can write lyrics. He has even won the roadies. And the characters he has chosen in Action Hero, Article 370, and now this. He has Shah Rukh Khan level charm in the screen presence way. The comedy throughout the film is generated by him and Paresh Rawal. And I'm very happy Ayushman Khurana in this Maddock cinematic universe. I hope he jumps from the tier 2 to tier 1 heroes in Bollywood. Ayushman Khurana definitely deserves it. I really like the conscious choice of writing a story on vampires. Granted, it is in their zone after Stree and Bedia, but the fact that they choose to bring a vampire story to life makes me happy. For that, I'll rate them a 9 on 10. The Maddock production house seems to play with the screenplay definitely. With Shava, they've elevated the last 40 minutes so much that it became a huge hit, and people just forgot about what happened the 2 hours before the 40 minutes. Thamma also follows a similar route. The first half is taken for building the story, building the world, establishing the emotions. And the second half is full of twists and turns, action episodes, story progressing, and the big, big climax. Now, the timing of the movie is 2.5 hours, but I felt it was like probably 3 hours long. The screenplay was a little slow at times, not lagging, but definitely slow. And the screenplay is just linear, it doesn't go back and forth or include two timelines or anything of that creative sort. It's just a story told from A to Z. So, considering all these, I would rate them an 8 on 10. Now, I do not want to give you any spoilers, but there is a kind of certain interval story writing in this movie that I'm a huge fan of. It happens with the protagonist in one of the greatest films ever made called 24, and also in this. Now, the writing has very clever to accommodate an episode like this. I was waiting for another movie to attempt this screenplay, and I'm happy that Maddock did it. As a part of the world building, the backstory and the traditions are also shown in this movie. The folklore of why the Betal race originated, what are their motives, what are their limitations. Just like Kantara, this movie also delves a little deep into the folklore. This kind of adds depth to the entire story. This movie cleverly adopts a famous mythological story into its narrative and storytelling and writing. And that is a job well done. I rate them a 9 on 10. Now, I have one very big disappointment with the movie. Probably a bit of spoiler, but a very small one. Ayushman Khurana in the end is supposedly a chosen one for the entire race. The director puts no effort in telling us why that is. Now, there's a dialogue that says there's a reason and there could be a reason, but in this movie, he is just chosen because he's the protagonist. I hated this aspect. If there was one flaw in the entire writing department, this is it. This made the movie fall flat after a lot of highs. I'll rate them a 3 on 10 for this. All these departments together is handled by the director Aditya Sarpoddar. Looking at his filmography, he has some experience in bringing supernatural into the big screens. His previous film was Munja, and he has done a decent job with Thamma too. All the departments fare well. There is nothing groundbreaking about this film except the vampire freshness, but every department getting an 8 on 10 is ultimately an 8.5 or a 9 on 10 when you look at a big picture. And this film is definitely a nice inclusion into the Maddock. I rate this consistent effort of the director an 8.5 on 10. In conclusion, Thamma is more than just a decent flick. It may not awe you for days after you have watched this film, but the movie is a thorough entertainer. Just like the Book My Show genres say it is part comedy, it is part horror, it is part action, it is part supernatural. And all these parts gel well into a good film. There's decent acting by Rashmika and Ayushman Khurana. The storytelling is rich with its folklore. The music is decent by Sachin Jigar. And this entire universe concept is definitely an addition. Maddock is doing what Marvel did for the Hollywood. It is carefully curating stories to form a big picture, a big universe, probably better than the LOKAH cinematic universe. And it's definitely not an easy task. And in my humble opinion, they have successfully achieved it. So all in all, I'll rate Thamma an 8.5 on 10. Go watch it. You'll definitely like it. If you have not liked it, comment it. Why did you not like it so? And also subscribe if you have liked this deep technical reviews of the movie.